Welcome, everybody. You ever feel like your life is just too complicated? There's too much family drama going on. You don't know who you love sexually and who you're related to. Sometimes it's both.
Welcome to the attic.
It's VC's Peasies. You're gonna smack the book at least 18 times.
Maybe once or none. Okay. Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
Singular, plural.
Hi, friend.
Yeah.
Hello,
You.
dear.
Hey, you.
Hey, you, dear listener.
Hey, you. It's just you and us.
Hey, Bib. He did.
What are you doing today? On this
Hi, bud.
day of days, that is a day for us.
It's Sunday.
It is a fun day when we're doing a book. I am Katie, this is Tia, this is PC's
I am
podcast.
Tia, that is Katie. We're
Dun, dun,
in
dun.
the attic. It's too cold for Katie, but it's something that I like.
You know, it's fine. it's fine.
She looks like a hoodlum right now. She's a hoodlum, literally. Her hood is up.
I just put it down.
Oh
my locks.
God, look at you.
It'll scooch back up, my hood. What?
What? You are laughing because you know what. And then you ask me what.
What?
Oh my God.
Here we are. It's time to Jade. I got nothing, like, her name's not an adjective or, like, a feeling, like, Misty.
It's an adjective. Because the color's an adjective, right? Yeah.
Adjective's a describing word. Oh, fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
Shit cocks.
Kathleen.
Jade. Escaping the madness of a hateful courtroom battle, she was lured into an ordeal too traumatic to forget and much too terrible to share. It was, if we know what they're talking about. Jade. Jade of the So Beauty and So Rich.
And so haughty.
Haughty.
So haughty.
H-A-U-G-H, not H-O-T-T-I-E.
Yeah. Not haughty.
She's a haughty.
Haughty.
She's a haughty.
She is a haughty.
Now, you didn't notate one of her little openers here, Jadethy. Maybe the length of our lives are in direct proportion to how much our parents wanted us. Wow.
Heck.
Fucking wow.
Yeah.
I did not like that. And I actually wrote, what a honkin' take.
Like, what does that mean, though? Like if
if
your parents don't want you at all, you'll, like...
Have, like, a terrible life.
Or you,
a
like,
short one,
die as an infant.
or, like, a short life. Like, it's this kind of, like, fantasizing about wanted children who are loved endlessly in their long, beautiful lives of wantedness and family time.
But all these poor babies are orphans with parents.
Orphans with fucking parents. No matter what happened between Jade and her parents, she maintained a regal air. Okay.
She rich. I like how they that it's people like, okay. the affluence is like pretty much like immediately shown by how they get dropped off at Dr. Marlowe's.
Yes. Yes.
So we have limo with Jade. We have a taxi or a driver, but not a limo
for
Misty, who even said like they could have said a limo, but that would have been too much.
Yeah.
And then you have like beat up like probably a sensible car for Kat, and then like a dented who's what for stuff. Like, it's really just placing everyone in the caste system.
Oh, the caste system of cars. So Jade opens, and they all open with, like, the characters kind of, like, dumb inner monologue about, like, how they got there, and blah, 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 blah.
Not even how they got there, but, like, the morning of, like...
Yeah, yes.
And their trepidations of, like...
The thing and the stuff.
Will I be able to tell my story after stories? And
the divorce. I just wrote LOL marital apocalypse, because that's how Jade refers to her parents' marriage's demise.
I feel like that's probably, like, very on brand with what a 17-year-old might think.
It's
especially
a
like
marital apocalypse.
Especially
Hottie.
You know, thinking about it now. Well, maybe not. Because I feel like like Jade might be like, oh, sweet, they're getting divorced, so that means I get 2 Christmases.
She also drops this nugget. Control is the essence of mother. I'm into that. Jade moves from one womb bubble to the next. Mansion, limo, beautiful school. Being uncomfortable was intolerable in Jade's world. I didn't think of myself as being lucky or fortunate. So she's like, I was just fucking rich.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and fair. She's just like, listen, like, I grew up like that. What am I supposed to...
Yeah. It was a pretty...
Like, I don't have context. Like, that's a self-aware observation.
It was insightful about lack of context.
Yeah, she's like...
I just went from, like, a rich house to, like, a nice school in a limo. I don't see poor people. I don't see people who need...
Yeah, she's like, I don't know why that's my fault. And you know what? Fair. Like, fair. Like, because what...
Howest would you?
Why would you? Me. There's
Excuse me.
No, so she, her inner monologue, she's like, I'm not gonna talk. I'm too different from everybody.
Yes. She was like, they're whatever, but I'm this. And I'm they can't expect me to do a thing.
And then, of course, she ends up changing her mind because it wasn't a 3-page thing.
It was not a 3-page novella.
It was not. And then we have tears burning onto eyelids again. Which is always burning.
They are.
Does Needs have acid tears?
Does he have a problem?
Is his pH balance off?
Oh my god, does he need the alkali water?
Maybe. If you'd like to help us send alkaline water to Andrew Niederman, please email a bottle of Evian to visaspiecespodcast@gmail.com.
The whole bottle. When we arrived, one look at Kat's face and Jade knew she dreaded being here the most. Nugget. Misty looked the least uncomfortable. Okay. It is notated that Star's life was raining pain. Okay.
Gotta rain some pain on that garden rain the pain on the wildflowers.
What was Misty's shirt?
Stop child labor.
Boycott child labor. Child labor.
Boycott child labor and teenage pregnancy.
Mwah. Fantastic.
I'm gonna design a shirt.
Great.
I'm gonna put it on our Redbubble.
Okay.
Jade, her parents don't need to work.
Hold on.
Oh.
I got one thing.
Go for it.
Because Jade is like saying like she just kind of like sets like here's what everyone is. Like Misty has on one of her wacky shirts. Kathy is sitting there mousy faced, and I hope you can get this. She was like, Star's like an angry black lady. Like I feel like she was like Star looked aggressive and she looked so mad about it, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. It's another one of these like you're so aggro. Angry black lady.
Yeah, stupid it's just like predictable tropes, man. I guess that's why they're tropes, though.
So Jade's there, and she's like, I cannot tell my story. I cannot. And Star's like, you were full of comments on my story, huh?
Yep.
Let's get to it.
She was like, oh, very good.
And Misty...
you guys won't understand.
Misty says that she's like, I feel better. And Dr. Marlowe prods Jade to share. So the big honkin', oh no, is that her parents are fighting over her.
Mm-hmm. But it is. I mean, it's a little freaking much.
It's a bit much. We'll get there. We'll get there.
See, her parents don't need to work, but her mom made it clear that taking 6 months off after she was born was like a hugely big deal.
Oh yeah. So like, Jade should definitely choose her. You need to choose me because I sacrificed the time. I think we're at the point where we think the gals are about 17-ish.
They're 17.
They're 17. Jade lives in a gated mansion community. There's mansions.
She's like, it's way bigger than this house.
It's like so big, and the mansion across from my mansion is so mansion-y.
And it's some sort of like, she's like, people stop and look because we have 9 panes of glass in our windows. What?
Did not pick
also,
that detail up.
I don't think it's a gated community. I think it's just a fancy one.
I feel like she said it was gated.
Well, then how are people just randomly driving by and being... Oh, I guess they might be visiting another person in the gate. But her dad designed the house, and it's like a little bit different than, a little more unique. And so they've had people like stop and be like, whoa. This house has windows with double sashed. Maybe she would use that term, actually, if her father is an architect.
Yes. I think at one point later on when she goes to another house, she notes some architectural details.
Oh, yeah. Even though I'm sure they talk nothing. Oh, I don't know.
Jade does not care who she lives with, and she screams it. She's like, I don't care!
I don't care!
And that brings the terror back to Kat's eyes.
Of course.
Some fucking reason. Per Daddy, talking about her mom working. Jade would have fewer problems if she had more mothering. It's always mom's fault.
Yep.
That's how it is.
He's like, but stay with me.
Stay with me. You. What a great fucking point. You need more mothering, but you should choose me.
You should choose me.
And then I'll win the divorce.
Because her time has passed. Clearly she didn't do the right thing for you before. So, let me take over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, her parents are like so goddamn petty. They're fighting over her, which is the difference between Misty and Star's stories, where it was just like the dad was the one that left the house or left in general. And they both tell Jade at different times that they didn't have any more children due to how the other one parented. Like, the mom was like, of course I wasn't going to have more children because of how your dad is. And the dad was like, of course I didn't want to have any more children because how your mother is.
Your
like,
mother.
Your mother. And I thought perhaps, and I don't think I'm correct, but I felt like...
I don't think I'm correct.
Just by the way that, like, Misty's always kind of, like, interjecting, and she seems to be, like, kind of like the...
Peacemaker?
Neutral good, like, with like the...
I do, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't get it.
I don't nerd that out much. Like, she seems to be like the
true neutral.
Yeah, like pretty much. So I thought that perhaps Into the Garden might have Misty as our narrator, but I believe a dear listener commented that it's Cat.
Oh yes,
yeah.
I guess that based on the ending of the Cat book, which you'll have to stay tuned for.
Yeah.
So here are her parents. Mother, cosmetic sales. Father's an architect. Like a kid fills out on a what I want to be when I grow up project in elementary school. It just seemed wild to me. Like wildly fanciful, like career.
Ballerina and firefighter.
Yes.
Oh.
Ballerina and doctor.
Ballerina and a doctor. Oh.
Like a singer and a maintenance man? I don't know.
Like a singer and a model actress.
Like what was fucking Paul Andreadis? Was he a lawyer?
Paul was...
Nope, not Paul. Bo. Bo was a lawyer? Like a painter and a lawyer. Or a finance man. Or what the fuck was Bo?
He was a lawyer.
Bo Andranus. Bo and Anus. So anyway, I feel like now we've hit upon something. It's very, like, fanciful, LOL type.
Maybe he has those forms and you go...
Yes. You just throw a dart at it.
Wow.
Star and Jade get into it a bit about who cares less about money, I guess.
That was very interesting.
It was weird. And then Jade makes some reference to her grandparents, and it's like, what? Grandparents? And she's like, I have an extended family.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why that was weird. It was weird because I don't know why that's weird.
Maybe in because Misty, I think she doesn't really have an extended family, and Star...
She just doesn't see them, yeah. Like, one of them's too snotty, she doesn't like to visit them, and... Okay. I don't know. And yeah, Star's got her grandmother.
Yeah, so, you get the impression that the family is very important to Star. She's so close to her grandmother. So she's like, you don't talk about your grandparents with affection and love. And she's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
So we're just not close. So,
whatever's going on, Jade is just supposed to be able to just separate and chill on what her folks are doing. She's just supposed to... They're like, oh, don't let us affect you, but we're going to be, up your ass about literally everything,
all up in that hole.
Ew.
That's what it is. There's not a physical separation. They live in the house together still, because whoever moves out...
Wants custody less?
It's going to count against them in the divorce, which I think is a thing, honestly.
I mean, that tracks.
It does.
Logically, yeah.
This is mentioned later on, but we'll mention it up close in case you get confused. We'll mention it up close.
Hello. Mentioning up close.
Jade's parents, one of them has to, quote-unquote, win the divorce.
Yeah, it is 100% a win-lose situation.
It's a no one wins type of situation.
They both have such big egos.
Yes. So Jade's talking about her parents and, their wedding and the Venice, and she was like, she wondered if she was a mistake because they didn't have her until 6 years after their marriage.
Yeah, and she looks at old, vacation photos and imagines these romantic scenes with music.
She's like, maybe I was conceived on the back of a gondola, and Star's like, what if you were conceived on the back of a cat? And she's like, how dare you? And Dr. Marlowe's like, why don't you fucking explore your feelings around that? I noted that because she was like, hey, you don't know. Now that everything's whimsical and rose-colored. She's like, well, you could have been conceived in the back of a fucking car.
But it would have been like a chauffeured limo, like the song Partition by
I was
Beyonce.
just thinking about Partition.
Slappy. Look at how big your slappies are.
Post-nuptial agreement.
Yeah, which was interesting.
Wait. Parents both wanted and didn't want Jade. My mother could pursue her career, and my father... They made a post-nuptial agreement.
Yeah, it was either agree or abort. That was what it was. They were like, these are my terms.
Deal or no deal.
Yeah, it was like, okay, if I'm going to be a father, here are my terms. If I'm going to be a mother, here are our terms. And if they didn't agree, they were going to abort the pregnancy.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. That seems like a fair and balanced...
For sure, but maybe just don't tell your kid that.
You maybe don't say that.
Yeah, you don't, like, the product child does not need to know that.
Don't tell the child they were almost an abortion.
Yeah, like, be like, yeah, like, there was just one little technicality, like,
it was 50 fucking 50,
like, because that's a lot to think about, of, like, what... Okay, if I am Jade and I get this information, right, I am constantly going to be like, what would they say now and would I still be here? Okay. Like, that's going to spiral her.
Sure.
Because even though she's like, I don't think about things, apparently she thinks about a lot of things also. Like,
I don't think about that, but I do think about like, so many things.
Like, she's written as someone who's, like, supposed to come off as very vapid and, like, self-important. And yet, like, she cares very much about, like, her parents' happiness. And, like, she's still super affected by this, where I feel like the rich girl...
That was a character fail.
Well, no, I mean, like, I'm glad there's some depth, but, like, you know, a rich girl written in a different way, or, like, you know, would... Like I said, being like I don't care if my parents get divorced, that means they both give me more stuff.
Yeah. That is what that archetype character would have done.
So I think that when she says things like that is just her protecting herself, as far as being like, I don't... You know, like, I never thought about this stuff, and this doesn't bother me, like, but clearly in her own, like, inner brainsing.
So there's a weird hammer and nail analogy, and I will read it to you now. So Jadith says, namely, my mother could pursue her career, and my father would do what he could to ensure what happened. Nature, and shall we say, unprotected sex, had thrown a new ingredient into their lives, a fetus they would name Jade. I threatened their wonderful status quo, so they had to reassure each other. Understand? I asked Star. She didn't look like she understood. Do you? I feel like I'm a nail and you're a hammer. I am not stupid, she quipped. What? I don't know. What is this analogy?
I don't know, but I noted at that same time that Jade and Star are just always going at it.
Not sexually. Jade wants Dr. Marlowe to understand this is much harder for her to do because the other girls are so unsophisticated.
Yep. Again, she's just projecting.
Oh.
She's protecting herself because she doesn't want to feel vulnerable. Ooh. It's not because she thinks she's better than them. It's because she doesn't have, like, context of, like, peers who have been in the same situation. She's clearly somehow a little bit different, even though she's fully a snob. But, like, you know, like, I think she's uncomfortable with the fact that she is relating to these other girls. And she doesn't want to admit it. So she's just like, no, I'm different. And it's like, yeah, maybe a little bit. But, like, I think she's just more scared that she's not as different as them.
Very, very shocking that the parents have separate bank accounts, apparently.
I like that. They have, like, a calendar where they trade off on appointments, school events. And that was kind of sad. Jade was saying that she assumed, like, everyone's parents had
the calendar.
Had, like, a whiteboard with notes. And, like, her friends were surprised when she asked about it. She was like, there's not a... And they're like, no. Like, they were so regimented about, like, keeping it even. Like, I'm not going to be more of a parent than you. I can't be more of a parent than you. I can't be more of a parent than you. And yet they're still always fighting about, like, this person wasn't there enough. Like, you literally split it down the middle. Like,
so what's interesting is working parents that I know have the calendars because of, like, you know, because in this world of two working parents, and you got to write it down, and you got to have a calendar, and you got to sit with your other parent and be like, all right, we need to make this thing, and we got to do this thing. I mean, my kid doesn't do activities. Thank the fuck Christ. But if
I don't have kids, thank the fuck Christ.
Hey, stop.
Hey.
But if you have kids and they do things, you got to plan for it.
Yeah, for sure. But this was more like... This was more like, we have to split this responsibility so none of us have to be more responsible.
It was in bad faith, not in good faith.
Right. Like, it wasn't like... It was just so technical. And in this case, like, it seemed like they didn't... Like, both of them could have made an effort to both be at things.
Yeah.
Like, two parents don't need to take you to a doctor's appointment. But, like...
The National Honor Society recognition ceremony, which happens later.
Or, like, a school play or, like, whatever. Yeah. Like, don't trade off on that because it's your turn. It's your turn. Mm-hmm. Your turn. Like, your turn. You should enjoy your child. It seemed like, we're led to believe that both of their schedules, the parent schedules, were, like, made by them enough that they could have been, like, block this time off. I have something to do. But no, it was, this one's your turn. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, ugh. So it's apparently shocking that her parents have separate bank accounts. Apparently, everyone was shooketh when Jade brought that one out. And her mother is Maureen Matthews. It goes by her maiden name professionally, but is legally last name Lester. And Star says, sounds like they were divorced before they got married. And I bristled as a woman who didn't take her husband's name and has a separate bank account. I thought more like the way that they're trading off, like, responsibility. They totally act like divorced parents.
Yes, that one.
Then I just really felt like her parents are, like, aggressively restrained with each other. Like, at the dinner table and stuff like that. They're just, like... neither of them wants to, like, act out or, like, get emotional in front of the other one because then the other one will, like, pounce on, like, them being emotional. And so they're just, like, so, like, they're so restrained.
Aggressively restrained.
They're aggressively restrained. Yeah, like, it's clear. Like, I feel the seething atmosphere reading about what it's like in there.
So, you explained better about the calendar. My only note was, it goes in writing that her dad goes to alternating annoying kid shit. And they're all, like, shooketh as well that like, her dad would take her to the dentist. Yeah. Well, because that's mom work. Here's a thinker. So, Jade, I guess they each realized how much of themselves they would have to surrender to make the marriage work. And when I came along, the price went up. My mother was always afraid she would become less and less if she had children. And my father was always afraid he would get weaker and weaker as my mother demanded more of him. And then, for whatever reason, I put several thinking face emojis. Perhaps they are too independent for marriage.
It sounds like that for real. Like, it's... I don't know. It seems like they're in a competition to, like, be as independent as possible.
Why did they even get married?
Seriously.
That's a great fucking question.
I feel like a lot of these... Except for, I mean, Star's story, like... It felt like, her parents did... I guess Star and Misty, we can believe that their parents...
We can believe it.
That their parents, like, had a time. But then Jade Cat, spoiler alert, like, you're just like, why? Why in the what?
Yeah, I did not note that you have that delightful analogy of what Jade...
Yeah, Jade finds out about the divorce and says she feels like a featherless bird. She's like, I felt like a bird flying that all of a sudden realized that she had no feathers and then started plummeting to the ground. And then randomly they're like... And then, like, of course, Cat probably made a face.
Yes.
There's cat intrigue abounding. And it's noted that if Cat had a better haircut, her face wouldn't look as chubby.
Yeah, I screenshotted that whole fucking page.
Yeah, oh, please.
No, wait, I didn't.
Oh.
That's a while back. Oh, I took a lot of notes.
You sure did. She takes, like, 8 times more notes than I do.
Okay, so I'm gonna read and you can just nod or speak.
Thank you.
You may nod or speak as your will. 2 new best friends are her parents' lawyers. I don't know.
She just meant like, oh yeah, all of a sudden, like, these are the people I'm spending the most time with.
Time for a laugh/cry. Sometimes I wish they had sued for divorce before I was born. Same. For her. Not for me. For her.
I was like, what?
No.
Same for me.
Okay. There was okay, all right. So, here's Jade explaining their little family dynamic. The division of labor. The division of labor. My mother discussed the menu with the cook. My father was in charge of grounds maintenance employees. They had a business manager to help with the bills and keep separate accounts, and everything they bought for the house they evaluated together, and both had to agree, or it had to be bought with separate money. That doesn't sound like a family. It sounds like a business, Star muttered. I feel like discussing purchases with your spouse, again...
She doesn't really have the context for that, though.
Okay.
Either. You know what I mean?
I mean, I just had to buy a washing machine.
I know, but, like, Star hasn't, like... They didn't have enough money that they were, like, being like, what about this vase somewhere? And they're like, oh, that's not a good investment. But I like the vase. Fine, then you buy it.
I mean, I guess I read that as, like, any home purchase. And I feel like those purchases should be discussed.
Yeah, I think that, Star just doesn't have context for, like, two people with their own, like,
income.
Autonomous income.
Autonomy, yes. Jade hate depositions. Stenographer noting everything and the judge looking at her with his fish eyes. He has, like, fishy eyes. And I was like, I've never in my life heard that descriptor, which you're going to think to yourself a lot when you read these books. I've never heard of a featherless bird and fishy eyes.
Featherless birds happen.
Oh, I know.
But it doesn't happen mid-flight. It doesn't. That would be like something like a nuclear explosion happened.
Would that affect the aerodynamics of the bird?
Yeah.
Great. Great for the bird.
I'm pretty sure the bird could not fly.
Okay.
Hence the analogy.
Can featherless birds fly?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna have to Google this later.
I think, like, part of the flying is in the feathers.
For aerodynamics, I learned...
For, like, because they got, like, little, like, it's like little sail, like, whoof, whoof.
Watch what you do in that captain. You're gonna take right off, you flying squirrel.
Oh my god, I am a featherless bird.
Mother was mailed the divorce papers to home.
That was hilarious.
That was wild. It's just from the lawyers. And Jade references the Last Supper. Mm-hmm. So they have supper, all right? And she's like...
And it's the last one, the end.
Book over. So that's like when that's the last time before the sad divorce times. So they get through the meal, and Mother's like, I received the envelope from lawyer. Because Jade has no fucking idea what this is. She's like, oh, it's just the family lawyer.
Yeah.
And he's like, yes. And father, daddy. I don't know. She's mother, but I think he's sometimes daddy and sometimes father.
I think it's mother, father in this one. Mother, father.
Mother, father. So and father's like, yes, well, I'm glad you did. And she's like, I think I will have a separate lawyer.
No, I'm going to go with this lawyer. And he was like, oh.
Oh, interesting choice.
And she was like, yes, this person was pleased with this lawyer. And he was like,
The end.
And so she's just like, cool, good night. Like,
Jade initially, she's like, someone must have cheated.
I think that's fair to assume.
Instead of this, then she goes through like a very long realization that they just don't fucking like each other. Yeah. It seems. Mm-hmm. It seems like you don't like each other very much. Jade's parents suddenly become real involved in her life to look good in court. Kat says that they're there to learn to live with confusion, and it's the first time in 3 days that the girls look at her as someone who can bring more than, quote, shyness, fear, or silence. They're like, oh, you got thoughts?
You got thoughts?
You got talk
feelings?
You got to talk feelings. Emma brings in lemonade, and they can all see that her problem is loneliness. What? And I also said, isn't Dr. Marlowe unmarried? Does she have no problems? Is that not... I mean, it's just very much like incomplete without a man or...
I think, well, they had kind of already talked about Dr. Marlowe, I think, in Star's book about how she didn't... No, it was in Misty's where it came out, like, oh, but you don't even have kids. And then she was like, yeah, but I'm a child of divorce.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here you go. If you want to parse out what parts. This is about... so as we know, Kat's hair looks fucked. And they all want to help her with her hair.
I go to... how do you say that?
Parochial?
Parochial? Is that how you say it?
Yes.
What a word. I go to a parochial school, she said. She brushed back her hair. I see you cut your hair, I told her, and she nodded. I did it myself. It's an improvement, I said. But you should try to get your mother to take you over to Patty's on Rodeo. She stared at me as if I spoke a foreign language. That's Rodeo, as in Rodeo Drive, I said. You know, if you have a good stylist work on it, your face wouldn't look as chubby. Maybe she doesn't think her face looks chubby. Maybe she's happy with how she looks, Star said.
Thanks, Star.
I'm just trying to be helpful. Sometimes people can be too helpful. That's ridiculous. No one can be too helpful, I said. People are always sticking their noses into other people's business are too helpful, she countered. I don't agree. I'm not sticking my nose into anyone's business. I'm giving her the benefit of my experience and my knowledge. Maybe she doesn't want it. You ever think of that? Of course she wants it. Don't you, Kathy? I asked her, practically pleading for her to agree. She looked like she would cry. Don't you see you're doing the same thing to her as your parents are doing to you, Misty asked. What? Trying to get her to take sides, she said. I stared at her a moment and then sat back. Star glared at me, and Kathy quietly ate her cookie, her eyes fixed on her lemonade.
The end. I mean, I don't know what to take from this exchange. It was just wild.
Self-reflection. Like, hey, you're projecting. Also, like, I did note that, like, if Kathy had a better haircut, her face wouldn't look so chubby, but I fully forgot that Jade literally said that to her, so cute. That's cute. So the folks start doing, like, a silent treatment telephone game, which is so stupid. They'll be like... But she doesn't even relay the messages, so it'll just be like, Jade, will you tell your father that to pass the salt? And then he'll be like, Jade, will you tell your mother that she doesn't have to ask you to ask me to pass the salt? And then she's like, Jade, can you tell your father, like, and Jade's just sitting there like, I'm not even fucking do anything.
It makes her grab her hair and scream all red in the face. Jade helps Dad move into the guest room. So, in response to that, quality fucking time. Mom's like, let's go out to dinner.
I had a little bit before that, sorry.
Great.
The silent treatment game, they're treating, like, this was a funny analogy, they're treating Jade's brain like a garden of hate. Just trying to plant hatred, seeds, flower hate towards each other, I don't know. And Mother refers to Jade as a wrinkle in the divorce payout.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, woof. And then she's glad Jade realizes that she's a checker on a checkerboard.
Yeah, because Jade's like, I guess I'm just a game piece. And she's like, yep.
She's like, oh, you got it. You understand. Go.
I'm glad you understand the game we're doing here.
They go to a fancy dinner.
Yeah, you noted that one.
Oh my God, Mother had 2.5 martinis at dinner, and she was lit.
She was litty.
Jade wasn't sure if she'd be able to drive home. Also, where's their limo?
She was litty titty. It was the first of the poisonings, which Kat misunderstands in a hilarious childlike way. She's like, poison?
And then the Star Misty was like, no, I'm sure it wasn't real poison. Was it fucking real poison? We had Mother being
Jade's head is a garden of hate. Hey, Jade, how's your head?
No complaints. There's the we'll be more sisters like. We'll be more like sisters now trope that Mother says to her.
Yes.
All these kids are just like, but you haven't even been my mom good, so...
You ain't even been my mom good.
You haven't even been my mom good.
I took a little notes about Mother. Mother is stylish, but finds shopping a waste of time, which I found interesting.
Yeah.
Because style is, I don't know.
Maybe just classic style.
Okay.
I'm just guessing a lot of practical pantsuits, but that are made like designer. Okay. Designer practical pantsuits.
Mother doesn't do anything special to stay attractive. She just is. She could have been a model if she were a couple inches taller. But... Of
course.
But Mother thinks that models are meat on the hoof, and men treat them with less respect. Sounds like it's not just men there, am I right?
Meat on the hoof also. What the fuck kind of saying is that?
Like a meat hook is a thing in the butcher shop. Sure, like you're a slab, but meat on the hoof?
Meat on the hoof. Yeah, because, like, if you're on the hook, like, oh, like, I'm on the hook.
That's a great analogy.
Because I have to do this.
You're a piece of meat to be consumed.
But also, like, on the hook, so you're, like, you know, like, you can't get away from what you're trying to do. I don't know. Hoof. Meat on the hoof. Why?
Only a short time for earning potential. Discussion about looks mattering or not. Beautiful Jade thinks that someone who has talent has enough. And it's just this very, like... a beautiful person saying that looks don't matter. Yeah,
Star was like, no, I'm pretty sure that, like, if you're a good-looking person, you are gonna get, like...
You're gonna get ahead.
You're gonna get, like, promoted over other people. And that's... I believe that's been a proven thing.
Yes, it is.
Like, that's just a thing.
Mother gets ugly when she's mad, though. Basically, Mother is offended at the idea that she's not smart enough to get her share. Jade's a wrinkle. We've got to be more like sisters now. Mother has one too many and then drives on home.
Jade did say that, like, she was worried, but then, like, she didn't drink that other half of a martini.
She good.
Like, they sat there and she complained enough that she got her, like, ABV. Yeah, what? Her ABV down.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Her blood pressure went up, ABV went down.
Little note about father. He's 6'2" with a perennial tan.
Of course.
Touch of gray at the temples, aqua blue eyes.
Not a color of people's eyes.
Oh, okay.
don't think so.
I'm not going to Google it.
It's the color of a contact lens. But yeah, always with the perennial tans.
Oh, man.
Sparrow. I might let the cat in.
Because I fast typed and it like autofilled, I have no idea what this note says.
Awesome.
Father basically confirms that mother is S as BT dubs to win the divorce to prove how independent she is. What? I wasn't looking when it corrected. Is a what? Is a by the way. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Nope.
Basically that she wants to win the divorce.
Okay.
Maybe that all went there. I'm gonna let the cat in.
Yeah.
She cry.
She do it.
Come on, you're good.
Come
on.
Okay.
Stop talking to me and just come in.
So she. If mother doesn't quote unquote if mother doesn't win the divorce, then she's not as independent as she thought she was, is what it boils down to.
Yes, and like I'm not gonna let a man think he can do more than me.
Now she's gonna scream to leave.
Oh my god. Dear listener likes her little meows though.
Father uses the term courting.
Yeah.
So if this is about 1999-ish and we minus about 20 years, that's only 1979 for dating. And I'm pretty sure no young person said courting in 1979.
Yeah, I don't.
It's all this language that's steeped back in the old times because Niederman likes to write as though it were like the late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah, because I mean, what, he's like... Because
he is
80
himself.
Now, so he was like, 60 at the time of writing this. And so in the 90s, he was born in the I don't know. Yes.
Mother's parents are snobs who consider father beneath them socially. And father says to Jade, I don't want you to become a Matthews snob. Too late?
Yeah.
Too late on
a
that
little
one?
bit.
And father says, you'll be worse off without me in the house, so I have to stay.
They are just so shitty about each other to her and, like, just really laying it on, like, this person, yeah. Planting the seeds of garden.
The seeds of garden.
The hating seeds. The hating seeds.
Jade's guidance counselor.
Oh, what's her name? Is it Miss Bickerstaff?
Yeah, great.
That is a made-up name. Like, that is, like, the name that, like... So, like, on RuPaul's Drag Race, when they have to do skits...
Yes.
I feel like if one was set in a school...
Yep.
They would have the name...
Yep.
Like, there would be a teacher named Mrs. Bickerstaff. Miss Bickerstaff. Because, like, what does it just mean? She argues with her colleagues? She just argues with her colleagues.
So, parents are snakes in her stomach, you say?
Yeah, she said it was like the way that, like, it was like her parents were two snakes, like, wound around each other in her stomach, and, like, every time they tried to pull apart, they were just, like, tearing each other, like, blah, blah, blah.
Mother makes a point of saying that father wasn't at the last two conferences she went to, but neither of them were there for the college meeting, were they? Nope. So that's, like, Jade's whole point is, like, your guys are so focused on this day-to-day bullshit, but, like, this is something that mattered, and neither of you were there.
Mm-hmm. They're like, didn't we talk about it? And she's like, kinda, not really.
But you still should have gone to, like, this meeting where we get more info and stuff.
She's like, we barely talked about it, and you were going to follow up, but then, like, you literally didn't, so...
Mother's lawyer is oily, in his description of the judge's questions. He's like, of course you won't want to move out of your home, and you don't love your father any less if you say that you want to live with your mother. He needs his creative freedom, and whomst else do you confide your female-based talk in?
And she's like, literally no one, because
literally no one.
Like, no one's ever home or talking to me. They're just talking at me about each other.
Jade does a barf. It's somehow obviously father's fault. And now she decides to run away.
And I wrote Misty version, too.
Yep. Luckily, Jade's parents have fallen over themselves to give her readily available money in checking accounts.
And angry. They made an angry checking account, and then they argue about proportional contributions.
Yes. Mother sets up a little trap about it.
Oh my god, so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, there's $2,000 in it. It's
yes.
like, we each did $1,000, and then she was like, well, I really contributed more, even though it's the same, because I don't make as much as your father.
And then, because now she has sprung this little trap. Fantastic. And he's like, you never said it was going to be proportional. And she was like, I thought it was obvious.
Yeah, and he's like, well, why are you bringing it up right now when we're giving her this stuff? Like,
and she's like, well, if you didn't think it was important in that matter. And he's like, I'll do it. You want me to do it right now? And she's like, well, I'm just, that you didn't think of it initially is...
I know. That was just so, like, so dumb, gross and stupid. Like, I do lean more towards, like, having sympathy for...
the devil.
Yes. For Jade's father, I think I like him more as a character than the mother. I don't really care for either of them, but I think that her dad just seems like more reactionary in like his shadiness and like the way that he's being toxic. You know what I mean? Like it seems like he's just like fucking over mommy. You know what I mean? Like being like this, so he's just so like, it is like, okay, if I'm getting out of this, like I'm gonna just like keep clapping back. Yeah. So it is always mommy's fault.
I mean,
she seems kind of shittier.
Yeah. So now we have a lunch meeting with father's lawyer.
It was initially disguised as a fancy lunch with just the two of them.
We're just going to have lunch.
And that's
she's
sad.
Like, cool.
Yeah, she was like, that's awesome. I'm so excited.
And he's like, oh, and the lawyer.
Okay.
Cool. And father's lawyer's like, we got father over here. He's good for college. Right. Mother, she went to boo business school for just a few years. And Jade's like, well, yeah, no one went to this fucking college meeting. I guess no one cares.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy. The judge questions are like her final exam. Father also insists. He's like, I'm not losing the house. I designed the house.
Yeah, so don't worry. Like,
she's like, I don't give any shits. I don't give zero shits.
I don't give zero shits.
About the
I give a half a shit.
I give like a little poop nug.
I give one nug of a shit. I give one
shirt.
I give one rabbit pellet.
Oh, rabbit pellet poops. Anyway.
That was a lot.
There's a therapist evaluation happens at Jade's house. Brown steel wool hair and almond-shaped eyes. And Dr. Marlowe vouches for her. She's like, yeah, she's good. Which, okay.
I had stuff before then. So after the lunch, like they were going back out to the car or something, and Jade just like looks at the ocean. Like the lunch had a nice view, and she was like, it was great because I could just like kind of space the fuck out and look at the ocean. And so then they're outside, and her dad's like, do you want to take a walk on the beach? And she was like, yeah, I guess. And he was just like, haha, this is so crazy.
I know, he's like, we're taking our shoes off. It's crazy.
I'm rolling up my trousers.
My cuffs.
So, So Jade was telling the other girls about this, and she's like, I had my arms folded under my breasts I would just listened with my hands folded under that. And I feel Jade would just say she was walking with her arms crossed, and the underbreastedness of it was what is clearly a Niederman compulsory detail that is never necessary. How else would you cross your arms? Even a breast tissue-less person naturally crosses their arms in that spot. Breasts, please.
Mine right now, as you can see, are crossed over the front.
But like, what? Like, is it just so we're supposed to like picture like a hiked up like
titty shelf?
It's just so...
Oh, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. More to your specific point about where else would they be crossed. I'm doing, like,
But it's about the same, like, you know what I mean? It's about the same.
I'm just hugging them.
Yeah, but it's about the same. And, like, do you picture her in this, like...
Who knows?
Like, even saying, like, I was just walking quietly next to him. Yeah. Or, like, I was upset, I had my arms crossed. But, like, my arms were folded under my breasts as I walked next to him.
Pushing them out.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Chestily.
Breasts.
It was a very chesty walk, if I can say
They're
that.
all chest. Like, everything is crossed under breasts. And, you know, if it's someone else describing, if it's, like, the benevolent... Narrator, okay. But she's, like, just the idea of her saying this out loud as how she was walking.
Nah.
I was like, what the fuck? Dr. Morton was the psychiatrist that came by.
Okay.
That wasn't Bickerstaff. So that was like someone separately.
Yes.
So she comes by to talk to Jade and see her room. And mother and father are both paranoid about what she may have asked and what Jade may have answered. They are so like, well, what'd you say about me? What'd you say?
Jade says her parents would prefer to split her in half evenly. Jade answers the doctor's questions in her typical offhand Jade type of way. Both parents want to know what she said, and they both fear they've been spoken against.
Dr. Morton's like kind of bummed out too, because she's like, I feel like
Y'all suck up in here.
She's like, ooh, because she's like, well, who do you spend time with more? She's like, no one. Mm-hmm. She's like, well, staff. This. And then she's like, oh, because like, I think Jade kept trying to be like, haha. And then like it got to a point where the psychiatrist, Hoomst, was just like, but do you really think it's funny? Mm-hmm. I had that happen in one of my therapy sessions once.
You're like, I'm clearly winning. This is a joke.
I was like, and she was like, yes, so you're laughing, but do you actually think this is funny? And I was like, oh, called out.
How dare you call me out of the session that I paid for?
I was like, wow. Oh, we're doing real work here.
Shit. Jade now prefers chat rooms to family dinners.
Then the chat rooms get Jade-splained, or Neater-splained, actually, I suppose. It's so funny, because I think Star's like, what? And she's like, on the computer. And Star's like, we don't have a computer. And she's like, everyone has a computer. And she's like, we're lucky to have a microwave. And then, like, everyone giggles. Okay.
That's like a...
So, like, I don't understand. But you can, like, kind of know people from the names they use on the screen. Not screen names. And, like, quote, like, Metal Man is probably into heavy rock music. Understand? Metal Man. And who does she meet?
Hold on. Jade was not... She thought she had to use her full name. Because she didn't know you could pick a screen name. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm Jade Matthews. Or whatever the fuck. Peepoo.
Yeah, Jade Jaderson.
It meets Lone Boy.
Lone Boy.
I then said, is someone getting catfished here? Because I was not sure whomst was being fished with cats.
I don't know, but Lone Boy's parents are also divorcing, and they're in a chat room, and then they become email exclusive in no time. She was like, instead of the chat room, we sent each other emails, which is hilarious because that means like instant messenger wasn't a thing by then. It's just chat rooms.
Right.
Remember?
Like a Yahoo chat.
Yeah.
Like Yahoo chat.
Yeah. Just like you come in and you're like, ASL.
Yeah.
ASL?
Yeah. All right.
No. Yeah. Age, sex, location. I was like, American Sign Language?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's the same. I was having the same thing. Yeah. Jade and Craig Boy exchange pics and addresses. Just full addresses.
Yeah, she eventually finds out that his name is Craig Bennett and works up the courage to scan a picture of herself and email it to him. So, like, she had to take a photo of herself,
print it,
scan it, add an attachment, and then probably about 2 weeks later it downloaded on his...
yes.
Yeah. And he sends one back. And she's like... I was not, like, terribly unhandsome.
He was not unhandsome.
Too bad that the quality of those scan and emails is... Probably could make someone...
Look...
Could probably not indicate the age of a photo, perhaps.
Perhaps. You noted she decides to run away to him, but I just wrote, run to Craig Boy, girl!
Yeah, no, I didn't want that to happen. Oh, yeah. At the lunch break, Jade says that when Kat smiles, it's like, quote, it had escaped from under the weight of sadness that usually soaked her face like ink in a blotter. And I wondered, like, would Jade or any of these teenage girls understand that analogy, let alone use it?
No.
Like, when's the last time...
This is written for middle-aged women. So, whoops.
Like, I mean, yeah, but in the 90s, like, we were talking about this earlier. We both used the phrase, like, smarter than the average bear. And then I said, no one uses that anymore. And Katie was like, why do we use it? I was like, well, because the show was out and our parents had also watched Yogi Bear. But, like, now no one says it because there's no context. I feel like that's the same thing. Like, I have an idea of what an ink blotter is. I've never seen one in real life. And, like, we were about that age.
Yeah.
Oh, we were about that age in 1999.
Yeah, we were.
But I still wouldn't have used it as a phrase.
Right, yeah.
If someone was, like, talking about an ink blotter, I'd be like, oh, that's that thing.
I know a thing, but I've never seen or used one.
Like, she's just talking about, like, using a computer, so it's not like she's just like, I, like, had a whole, like...
That was my vibe, was anachronistic items. Kat, by the way, notated, breaks into a big old smile at the lunch platter, which is sandwich stuff, same girl.
Yeah, dude. I was like, damn it, where's my sandwich platter? I always think that though. Yeah, where's my sandwich? If you'd like to email us a sandwich platter,
would you download a sandwich platter?
Could you scan a sandwich platter and attach it to an email and send it to our...
I'll 3D print it
our
to my
Yahoo email address, which is visaspiecespodcast@gmail.com. Also, you can DM it to us, to our Instagram. We are at Visas Pieces Podcast.
Oh my fucking god. Did you not note this? Because they do a little more informal chat at the lunch breaks. Emma was married at 19 due to paternal influence. That was weird. There's some kind of like veal cordon bleu versus fried chicken honkin' wolf chat.
Oh yeah, because Jade was saying that she got home from
something, and there was
something, and the maid felt sad for her, so she made her favorite
veal cordon bleu, and she's like, "Girl, we eat fried chicken." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it was bad.
We're in America, girl. We eat fried chicken. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come on. I mean, fried chicken gets brought up a lot, so I don't necessarily think this one's a race thing.
I also don't think it's not.
I know. I'm just saying
it both is and is not. Somehow.
I'm just saying at least this isn't the first time we've heard of fried chicken.
She's trying to eat my asshole.
No, she's not. She's not like that. Get out of here. Stop projecting.
She just nudged her face.
It's because she wants you to scritch her.
With my cheeks?
She wants you to scritch her. She's so sweet.
Mother has a thing about leftovers. It is notated, no leftovers.
Oh. Sorry. She felt bad because that was when they were supposed to go to the Honor Society thing, and they both were out of town instead. And the cook
maid lady.
No, they have separate. Remember, because there was a point where like Misty was like, our maid is our cook. You got both. That's why she felt bad for her, because she was alone.
Okay.
She was alone during this like thing. This for the freaking award ceremony.
Yeah. Mother has a thing about leftovers, so all this beautiful fancy food gets tossed. And I think they said that she tossed enough to feed a whole nother family. Or some bullshit like that.
Why are there 3 of them? There's 3 of them.
Right.
Why wouldn't this cook make less food?
Great fucking question.
Like, she's discussing the menu with the cook. The cook knows there's only 3 of them and knows that leftovers get tossed. Why isn't she adjusting?
You know what? I'm going to guess that Mother just doesn't eat her full plate.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's not enough to feed a whole other family.
Maybe it's like a whole week of dribs and drabs of mashed potato and veal cutlets. I don't fucking know.
But, like, that seems like that's not enough to save for a leftover anyways.
Jade notes that the house was crying. There was like an extended page about the house crying. I didn't make too many notes on that, but like it was a long bit about like wandering through the house, and the house was sad, and there were pockets of sadness and tears in the house.
And didn't she say something like that too? She's like, "Don't you hear the house crying?"
Yes, I think later on.
You want me to find it?
No.
Okay.
And then it's time to run away instead of the NHS ceremony.
Look, Sparrow. Okay.
So she runs away to where? Where's she running to?
Oh, heckin' geez. Sweet baby Jeebus. She flies to San Fran, goes to Craig's house.
Oh, Craig boy.
This is clearly a very smart choice. It's going to end well, I'm sure. I just knew it was going to be a smart choice that ended well. So she says nothing. She's like, she just knows his address.
Well, they exchange addresses.
Right,
they're like, oh, I live here. Isn't that a cool thing? And she's like, I was to San Fran once.
Yes. And she just fucking goes.
Yeah. Because both
by
mother and father are out for a couple of days.
Yep. And she's like, fuck it.
Fuck it.
They don't even care about me. I'm out of here. I'm sick of being a stomach full of snakes.
So she gets to the house and, you're the computer girl.
His dad answers the door. He's like, Craig and his little brother Sonny are out buying coffee at 9 o'clock in the evening, but they'll be back soon.
I interject. I definitely saw an episode of Oprah in high school about not giving out your personal info online.
Yeah, well, clearly Jade isn't watching Oprah. She just... Ooh, did I just...
delete your own note?
I don't know if I did. No, I didn't.
So the house smells weird and the thin man has a slight lisp. Notated. Great.
Yeah. It smells musty and gross, as well as, like... She's also like, there's facial similarities...
So he's obviously Craig Boy's dad.
That his dad has compared to the picture that Craig scanned and emailed of himself.
The Thin Man knows a heck of a lot about Jade. She's like, why does he know so much about me? And he's like, oh, Craig read your letters at the dinner table.
We're very close.
First of all,
yeah, it's awful.
Time to head upstairs of the stankish house.
Well, I'm having, like, yikesy anxiety time, and I hated it. I was like, this has got to be a classic internet, especially early days of bait and switch cautionary tale, right?
We knew what was going to happen.
I know, but like, I mean, you'll see, but it got fucking weird. And Jade had mentioned her smarter legs twice now. She was like, my smarter legs told me to run. But like, what's the point of calling them that if she is still heading towards the direction they're telling her not to?
She's going to be dumb about them.
Yeah, like definitely follow this crusty floor chair man up to the third floor to see Craig's room. Yeah, she noted that like there was like an easy chair that had like
crust on it.
Like around the chair was like food crust. Like it was just like eating and dropping food, crusty
bits,
food
crustiest food bits. The third up is like, let's go to Craig's room. It's on the third floor up these rickety fucking stairs. Mm-hmm. Oh no. So let's talk about the room.
So she says that it follows this crusty chair floor man to Craig's room, which feels like it's stepping back in time, and somehow has a great view out of the window, even though it's caked in grime. He's like, don't you like the view? Like, they're talking about how, like, you can't see out the windows, but the view is I don't know. And, like, it's super sparse. There's just, like a computer in the corner and, like, a shitty bed, and then, like, pictures like tacked to the wall of like Craig, quote unquote, and Sonny, his younger brother, quote unquote. And she's like, these pictures look actually like they're kind of old. Because they're kind of old.
Girl. Locked in.
So he's like, oh, you want to just wait here for Craig? I'm going to go downstairs. And then he just locks her in. He locks her in.
Yeah.
Somehow she still thinks Craig is going to come home and be like, what's up, my dad? Am I right? Lol, lol, lol. She's like, oh my god, when Craig gets home, he's going to be so upset.
He's going to help. And then she hears through the door Craig with a really weird high-pitched voice. And he's like, the father has become the son. What?
Like, there's literally no clothes in the drawers or closet. It's like, she's looking around. And then she's like, I wonder what's taking Craig so long to get home. And then, this fucking fucker weird. Is Norman Batesing the shit out of this. Yeah.
He's like, I'll get the key for you. Then I thought, wait a minute. There's no Craig.
No way. What? There's a psychotic break, and he's acting like she's his mother come back to be with him. He tosses her backpack and shoes out of the door after a struggle, and she wakes up naked in the bed. Mm-mm. And, good, she wasn't sexually assaulted. Just creeped the fuck out on and immobilized by having her left ankle and right wrist tied to the bed with computer cables.
Just kisses.
It was the computer that was the problem.
At one point in this struggle, I wrote, what, no nut kick? Girls and gents, anyone? A nice swift crotch kick is your ticket to freedom.
And Jade is like, oh no, it might take months or years for a smart detective to think of looking on my computer for leads.
I love that you noted that. It's so wild. Ruined. Oh, a smart detective.
Like, that's what she was like. Ugh. Like, right. I know, like, I'm pretty sure, like, at this time, we knew about the, like, internet bait and switches. Internet. Like, we knew about fishing.
We knew about catching a predator.
We weren't calling it catfishing at the time, but, like, we knew about pervs. We knew about grown men pretending to be teenage boys.
We've always known about perverts.
But I don't understand how she was tied in such an incapacitating way with just one wrist and one ankle. Like, I cannot picture this position at all.
Yeah, I don't understand either. I knew that I wasn't understanding because she could reach a thing and then not a thing. He won't let her use the bathroom. He makes her go into bedpan. So here he comes. He comes up with the children's book. It says she's safe forever and ever, and I love the salty taste of your tears.
It's fucking... Yeah, it did get weird. I was like, who is Hoomst treating like Hoomst right now?
I do not know what his role is supposed to be. No. So...
Because you're thinking, like... Because he's like, oh, you came back, so, like...
It's his wife, yeah.
No, it's his mother, because I feel like it was Craig's... Mother, yeah.
So he is Craig.
I think he is Craig, yes.
Okay, and his parents did a divorce, but it was like 40 years ago.
Yes,
okay,
because it's like him and his little brother Sonny, right? Like, because they were siblings, so it's not like you see like a dad and a boy, and the boy is Sonny. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
really Craig.
Yeah, I'm with it now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I kind of just didn't give any shits about who.
Yeah, no, and for some reason he's still in the house. We don't know why. But yeah, it's really strange because I don't know. Maybe this like psychotic break was like she wasn't taken care of enough in the house, so now I'm going to take care of her. But
he reads a preschool book, listens to her tummy gurgling. Like, he lays his ear upon her nude stomach, nude body, maybe face full of pubes, we don't know. And he's like, I can hear your tummy gurgle. I'll stay with you till you fall asleep. That's what I wrote. I said, what is this guy's angle?
Yeah.
Not sexual, paternal, ? Breakfast bedpan.
Breakfast bedpan.
I'll make dinner. I promise not to burn anything. Because that's mommy.
Right.
Okay, mommy.
Yep. So I think it's just he's trying to be protective so mommy won't leave again. Like, look, I'm independent and I'll help you.
Nude mommy. Then we have Jade spends all day working to free herself from this mystery configuration.
Yeah, I think he unties her legs so she can sit up and have her breakfast or something. But then she, like, throws the oatmeal behind the bed. She doesn't want him to know that she didn't eat it. But also, like, the description of this room is, like, it was sparse with, like,
there's
a bed, just, like, a mattress on a frame in the middle of the floor. Like,
where are you hiding oatmeal?
Where are you hiding oatmeal? It was so weird.
She gets free as soon as this thin man returns. But he leaves, and she works more hours and hours to free herself of hours. I don't understand. To figure this out, she picks the lock with a straightened bed spring.
Yeah, I don't see her being able to figure that out.
No,
but
her things are conveniently nearby.
They're on the stairs.
They're
right
just
there.
right the fuck there.
But you know, I bet that would probably track with this guy who's got no. But no, these stairs are narrow as fuck. I feel like a backpack and some shoes is like going to take up a stair.
Yeah. A single stair. Creaking stairs, a very tense, like, descent through the floors. She's like, I was on the second floor now, and creeping, ever so creeping.
No windows will fucking open, because they're all jacked the hell up.
They're so filthy. They're, like, filth closed. There's a whimpering child sound as soon as she gets to the first floor, and he is sleep sobbing and clutching her clothing.
Yeah, it's cool.
She changed into one of the outfits she packed.
Yeah. She threw some stuff on. So she goes to the front door and it's locked. Like, it's noted before that this is an old house that has skeleton keys. And then the other girls are like, you should have brought the bed spring. And she's like, I wasn't fucking thinking about that. And I wasn't going to go all the way back up there. Like, I just thought that was interesting. They're like, why didn't you think that maybe the front door would also be skeleton key locked? So she does like a weird bait, like, thing to get...
It was an interesting vibe. So she knocks on the door loud enough to wake him, and she, like, ducks behind some fucking weird angled clock.
Yeah, there's a grandfather clock, but apparently there's enough space between the back of it and the wall that she can slip behind it.
And when his back is turned ever so slightly from the door, she races out the front of the door.
Yep. And he doesn't chase her, I guess. It's raining, of course. And
yeah, she runs through the rain
runs.
To a restaurant and then an airport to head home when her parents are still away, so no one ever fucking noticed.
Yeah. Oof. Like, she doesn't do anything. She doesn't call the police. She just, like, goes... Yeah, she just, like, flies home. She's like, oh, woof, woof. That was crazy. Am I right?
So anyway, that happened, and, so yeah. So here's a note I noted. Jade missed 2 breakfasts. So did she not eat for a full 24 hours? Practically speaking, you kind of need food to live.
That was me. I ate 1 apple yesterday.
Well, practically speaking.
And then I ate one, like a meal prep kit meal the day before. It's just crazy. Sometimes it's crazy. Well, also, yeah, she just got... Of course she didn't eat anything. Like, she needs to sleep off this trauma for a hot minute.
Okay.
And, like, no one noticed that she was gone and she just went through this horrible ordeal. Where, like, absolutely, she was like, I'm going to get cut into tiny pieces. I'm going to get pickle jarred. Hey! That was so great.
Anyway.
There was a note that I... Oh, right. I think that this happens after, like, maybe a dinner where she's yelling or something. Right?
Yeah, so it comes out that she didn't go to the thing, and Jade's like, yeah, I didn't feel good. And her father's like, oh, woman stuff? So, anytime if you have like a stomach or headache, it's a woman. It's a woman stuff.
You're like, I got a splinter, and it's like, oh, is it your period?
Did you period out a splinter? Ew, oh my god, what if you're just sprouted splinters?
What if you did? Go to the doctor. You'll be sat next to the kid with the teacup marble eyeballs. In the weird Niederman affliction branch of the hospital.
So they're at the dinner, and it comes out that she didn't go to the NHS dinner, and mother fucking whips out an appointment book, and she's like, "But ping pong, clearly it was your turn." And father's like, "Could you not remind me?" She's like, "You need me to remind you?"
And they're just going at it, blaming each other.
At it.
And then she just flips, and she's like, "Ah, no, I ran away from home and no one noticed, and I almost got raped and killed. And then, like, runs out, and her parents are like, oh. And then start to, like, they're like, hey, bud. She does a quote, I don't think we ever get tired of hearing our parents' promises, no matter how many times they break them. It's like buying another lottery ticket after you've lost and lost and lost. You just can't help hoping and fantasizing. Is it like that? That's horrible.
By the way, side whatever, Craig emails and apologizes for his father's behavior.
Yeah, like, oh, hey, I heard you ran into my dad.
My dad's crazy, weird, huh?
My dad, am I right? La, la, la.
Jade's school stuff suffers her grades and her extracurricular activities. There's an impromptu visit to the crystal store, LOL.
Yeah, what the fuck?
There's another round of we need to be like sisters. Now father's not at school unexpectedly, and we should do more fun things together. So they're just like trying, like, hey buddy, let's go to the crystal store.
Yeah, they make new efforts to connect with her after a trip to San Francisco.
Old-fashioned ice cream bonding.
But she's like, is this still just a ploy to, like, get me to choose one? And probably. Like, I think it's probably both. Like, they're probably like, fuck, that sucks.
Want to get an ice cream, honey?
So... But yet still, it's, like, benefiting, like, their end game for to that.
But time for the judge talk. Rain on the limos. God's bullets.
Wow. The wide-waisted Santa judge has thick lips and stubby fingers.
The Jade's nerves are piano wires, which I noted was a better use of this metaphor.
Instead of for hair?
Yeah.
Yep. I actually read that when I was listening to our Runaways with Jason, he was like, hold on. Hair like piano? What does that mean? He like Googled it. He was like, I don't understand what this means.
And
I was like,
that's exactly.
I don't know. I'm like, it gets used surprisingly often.
That's the whole
all
point,
of a sudden.
That's the point of the podcast.
Yes.
That's our thesis.
So she's better off without either mommy or daddy, but wishes she could make a perfect hybrid mommy-daddy.
Yes. The judge seems like a nice man. Jade doesn't have a preference. Independence will be... Because the judge is like, I feel like independence is no novelty to you.
Yeah. Unfortunately for the stenographer, Jade's story wasn't as exciting as a murder or something.
Yeah.
She, like, noted the stenographer looked bored. That was weird.
The judge looks angry at some point. He's like, well, what about having neither parent? Her extended family's out of the question, but I wrote emancipation ?
I think that's what he means, like, something like that. He's like, well, what if you just, like, take care of yourself for the year in between?
Couple years,
like,
yeah.
Like, you're going to be 18 soon enough, and, like, it sounds like it doesn't fucking matter if you're with these people. They're not there anyways.
The judge is noted as one of the best on these kinds of cases.
This was interesting, because I'm such a weird note-tater. So after the meeting, when Jade gets into the limo, she tells the driver... Is this after the meeting? Are we good? We got more stuff.
Yes. Because that was as she left, one of the people in the judgery... was like, he's one of the best judges on these type of judges. And she's like, fucking great. I don't care.
So after the meeting, when Jade gets in the limo, she tells the driver, home, James. And she was like, he didn't get it. But which she had apparently always wanted to say.
So you went down the Google rabbit hole.
A little bit. This phrase is believed to be coined in Britain around 1840 because Queen Victoria felt that home darling, the surname of her driver, was just too awkward as fuck to say. Home darling. And then I said, yes, definitely a 17-ish old Beverly in the late 90s would be yearning to say this phrase. And out of all the times everyone's story is interrupted to ask clarifying questions, none of the girls is like, why the fuck do you say that, though? I don't get it. Like, people are interrupting your stories all the time. Like, oh, please clarify this. So they all know this phrase, home, James, that Queen Victoria said in 1840. I thought maybe it was a quote from an old movie.
Yeah.
No. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of calling someone James. Like that. Yeah, I feel like I've heard.
You've heard someone say, home, James.
I feel like I have.
I don't know about that. If you have heard this, please send your memories to VCSPiecespodcast@gmail.com.
We'll see you in the chat room.
Or DM us on the Insta at VCSPiecespodcast.com.
We'll be in a Yahoo chat room. It's a dark, rainy day. It's a dog in the house, and she's so tired from the judge, and she wants to sleep. Oh, she knows her mother keeps her sleeping pills. Here's what I wrote. She knows her mother keeps her sleeping pills. Oh, paramedics.
Yep, because she was like, you know what? Like, what is it? She knew that she's like, I just took one, and then I was like, you know what could another one hurt? And then all of a sudden, like, she took all of them.
Where was my big bubble? Where was my protective bubble? I wrote any doodles. Joint custody, probably. It's still unresolved.
Yeah, mother and father are much nicer to her and each other now after that happened. So it only took, like, getting abducted and then, like, a possible suicide, depression, possible on purpose suicide attempt for them to be like...
Maybe they should chill the fuck out.
Yeah, like, maybe if we have stuff about each other, we should not pass it through our kid.
Daddy is getting pumped to build a new house, and mother may take a leave of absence from work. But probably not. Phone number exchange is how I did it.
Jade gets Misty's phone number and feels like her hand is a balloon floating off. I don't know what that... what?
A feathered balloon?
Featherless balloon.
I felt like a featherless balloon floating.
Yeah, hold on. What the fuck? Misty walked with me to the limousine. The driver got out to open the door. It's a pretty day. What are you going to do with the rest of it, she asked. I don't know. I have some magazines to read. I guess I'll just lounge by the pool and work on my tan or paint my fingernails. What about you? She shrugged. Nothing, she said. Give me your phone number, I said. I'll call you later. Really? She gave it to me and I got into the limousine and rolled down the window. I guess what hurts the most, I said, is you lose faith. You think if they can fall out of love, the two people you love the most, the two people you idolized and believed in the most, then how can anything beautiful happen between you and someone? Wow. Understand?
No.
Yes, she said, exactly. It doesn't sound like they were ever in love, though, so... I reached out and she took my hand for a moment. Maybe we're better than them, she offered. Maybe the best of them is in us and we're even better. Maybe, I said. She let go and stepped back as the limousine started. Her hand had felt like the string on a balloon. As I rode off, the balloon rose in my imagination.
Okay.
Our four faces were on it, and we were drifting into the wind. Also, she has no epilogue either. I don't think Kat did either. But, words and things. I don't...
Yep. You know what? I feel like it feels like these are trying not to the end so hard, but, I mean... I would prefer and then the end, then this kind of like drawn out like, and then I had feelings and I was feeling like a paper bag blowing in the wind.
That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
It's just some trash blowing on the breeze.
It's fucking trash.
You're just, hey friends, you're all just fucking trash blowing in the breeze.
What's his name? It was like Wes Borland.
What?
Like the guy from American Beauty.
Kevin Spacey?
No. The one
the actor.
The one that looks like Tobey Maguire, but it's not Tobey Maguire.
Oh, wow.
Wes?
We can offline.
West? Okay.
We gotta go.
Wes? Wes? I wish it was Wes.
Alright, goodbye, we gotta go. I'm thirsty, and I need some water. So we gotta go. We're gonna record another one, and it's gonna be so good for you. You're gonna listen to it later. But not now. But we're going to do it now. Because these are short boys, and we're cranking them hard for you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to VC's Pieces podcast. We hope you enjoyed it.
Technical support was provided by Boo and Matt. Thanks for answering all of my stupid questions.
Music is Dust in My Attic by Broke MC, used under Creative Commons license.
Email us at vcspiecespodcast@gmail.com with your thoughts or comments.
You can also follow us on Instagram. We are at VC's Pieces Podcast.
New episodes are released every other Friday to give you time to read along. In the meantime, tell your story, do some trauma bonding.
And for God's sake, don't stay together for the kids.
Addicted to the magic, the heroes in the static.